Shavuot's around the corner, and there's a custom on Shavuot. There's not many. There's only a few. One of them is to eat milk products in Shavuot. There are different explanations for this that are offered. Number one, some say that the gematria for chalav is 40. Chet is 8. Lamed is 30. 2 is 2. Labed is 2. So that's 40 altogether. So 40 days Moshe was at Har Sinai. Another explanation is that chalav nurtures the calf. Milk nurtures the calf, so therefore we want to be nurtured by the Torah. Another explanation is that when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai, he learned all the laws of kashrut, and he realized all of their vessels were unkosher at that point. He didn't have time to make them kosher and to get the knife ready and get the animal and shech the animal, so therefore they ate milk products when they came down. But Rav Moshe Isserles, he says that the simple reason is to remember the shtei alechem, the 2 loaves of bread that were eaten in the Beit HaMikdash, that were sacrificed in the Beit HaMikdash on Shavuot. What's the connection between eating milk products in Shavuot and the shtei alechem and the 2 loaves of bread? What's the connection? So he explains like this. He says the original custom, according to how he's explaining it, to eat milk on Shavuot was that people would eat milk and meat at the same meal. Okay, don't get scared. They weren't eating meat and then milk. They were first eating milk at the meal. They take a break, they'd rinse their mouth, they wash their hands, they clean their mouth out with some food or whatever, and then they would eat meat afterwards. It wasn't just like a milk meal on its own. It was milk and then a break and then meat. Why were they doing that? They want to obligate themselves in eating 2 loaves of bread. How'd that happen? The first loaf of bread, really, the Mishnah, they would break bread over the milk part of the meal. And because they ate those loaves with the milk part of the meal, they can no longer eat that loaf with the meat. So then they would switch and they bring out another loaf of bread when they ate the meat part of the meal. So really you have 2 loaves, one designated to milk, one designated to the meat part of the meal. And through that, this is symbolic of the 2 loaves that were brought in the Beit HaMikdash on Shavuot. So I like this explanation for multiple reasons. One, I think it's just neat that they were kind of interesting. They're eating milk and then meat at the meal. I don't know if many people, does anybody do that today on Shavuot?
No,
you do that?
But other times.
On Shavuot? Okay, but on Shavuot?
I do eat 2 loaves of bread.
What?
I do eat 2 full loaves of bread.
Yeah, okay. So, but beyond that, I really like when we talk about the symbolism in the Beit HaMikdash of how Shavuot was experienced. It's very foreign. It's distant from us. We experience Shavuot as staying up, learning Torah as much as you can on Shavuot. But really, in the Beit HaMikdash, it was a whole different experience. It was really about the agricultural component. A lot of it was centered around that. And why was that so important? They brought the 2 loaves of bread from the grain, from the wheat. Why was that so important? Because this was like the beginning of their harvest. They celebrated the barley harvest around Pesach time. They celebrated the new harvest, the grain harvest around Pesach, around Shavuot. And then the rest of the fruits, when they all ripened, they brought them in. That was Sukkot. It's really the beginning of the harvest. And they're celebrating how Hashem blessed them at the very beginning. So on Sukkot, we express gratitude for all the bounty that God gave us on Sukkot. It's called the Chag HaSif. You bring in all God's bounty. But really on Shavuot, we remember the 2 loaves through eating milk and then meat, having 2 loaves. We remember really the beginning of this process of Hashem's harvest. And really, this is really a good message for us. You know, we often kind of focus on like thanking Hashem when the blessing is fulfilled. Like when we have everything that Hashem wants to give us. Really, at each stage along the way, there's so much to thank Hashem for. I think Shavuot points to that with the shtei alechem. We get going, the harvest is just going, we're just harvesting the wheat, the very beginning. We have to thank Hashem for that. Each step along the way, there's so much to thank Hashem for. I think that symbol, like eating the milk on Shavuot, even if we don't do it that same way of milk and then meat. Nevertheless, we can think about like the blessings that we have, not just on Sukkot, the holiday when you bring in everything, but on Shavuot as well. Think about all the blessings, not just the culmination of them, but every step along the way we can think about and thank Hashem for. So let's think about that on Shavuot.